Hello, this is the Nightmare Man, and welcome back. It's been a while since I recorded one of these, but this is the newest episode of Randomized D&D characters. In this one, we have Ella Marin, the chaotic good Lightfoot halfling, who is an eloquence bard, and oh my god, I feel so bad for their stats. I rolled them so poorly. Their highest one is a 13. That might not even be like base stat. That might be from like some racial bonuses as well. But I did enjoy drawing them, making them. They have the entertainer background as well. They're 30 years old. They're 3'2", because halfling, and it's 38 pounds, because goddamn, halflings are light. But with that all said, let's get into the story. Ella was raised in the town of Follow. It's a small and beautiful little town with green grass growing on every corner. But it was a little too peaceful for Ella's taste. No good incidents or situations that she could turn into song or story. This being said, she took her flute, her jacket, and her scarf with her, and set on for the road. She wanted adventure, and she wanted stories to tell. Ella was never gifted at combat or even magic, but she was gifted in talking, and the special kind of magic it brought her. If she could speak, she could get out of almost any situation. In fact, some of the few times that she wasn't able to fully dissuade enemies was when they were mindless or automatons. Every time she's gone into a tough situation and, well, that happens more than she'd like to admit, her jacket ends up getting torn in some way, but seeing as it was a gift from her loving parents, she insists on sewing it back together. Despite her rather chipper and sometimes even childish personality, that doesn't stop her from being able to shift to cold and calculated at the drop of a hat if, well, the conversation calls for it. It doesn't matter how well you put up a guard in front of her, she will be able to read through you and figure out just what she has to say. In her time of adventuring, she's had several different groups of adventurers to travel with. Her favorite was the party she fought a dragon with. That is by far her favorite story so far, since everyone loves a good dragon story. That being said, she stands by the fact that being a part of those stories is a lot less fun than hearing them. It all began when her party heard of a red dragon terrorizing a town nearby. Ella wished for a less overdone beginning, but sometimes they're overdone because, well, they happen a lot. They gathered what little supplies they actually needed, mostly healing potions, and set out. Finding the path of the dragon wasn't very hard, as they don't tend to cover up their tracks very often. One thing Ella noted was that when people tell stories and sing songs of dragon hunting and dragon slaying, they very, very rarely talk about the smell or look of burnt bodies left in the beast's wake. An understandable yet powerful note to leave out. Their party continued on their path until they finally reached the mouth of a cave high up in the mountains. The smell of smoke and burnt meat assailed their noses as they entered. It was only about a 2-minute walk until they finally found the sleeping adult dragon. Ella had heard many stories and knew that most red dragons, at least, seemed to have at least above average intellect and were adept predators and knew to hide or cover their tracks. But this one didn't seem on par with them. This one seemed to just kill on predatory instinct. It was mindless almost. It was everything they'd heard and everything they'd seen up until this point that painted it as possibly having some sort of intellect, albeit a cruel one. But what they saw in this cave was not cruel, but was purely a mindless slaughter. Tens, if not hundreds, of bodies littered the cave. The battle started quickly. It started with the wizard hurling spells at the sleeping beast, and as it awoke, the barbarian and paladin rushed in and, well, did their best. The beast was heavily injured by the time it was hitting the front line, but the barbarian did lose an arm in the beginning, though his rage kept him from fully noticing. Ella knew she wasn't going to be able to talk this beast down. Well, she didn't know what else to do other than use her words to motivate her party, motivate them into ignoring the multiple burns and scratches so that no one would have to be killed by this beast ever again when they left this cave. While she would definitely need to sew the sleeve of her jacket back on, something she was much more concerned about than the severed arm of hers, as being reattached by a cleric. She definitely knew that they'd won this battle. Ella tells this tale and sings this song time after time, using different details sometimes, as a gifted wordsmith tends to do. She isn't a good fighter. She isn't a good mage. But gods be damned if she can't talk you into believing she actually fought a dragon. Noting no scar where she says it was detached, and no real battle experience when fighting dragons, at least. She is a gifted wordsmith, and she can make you believe anything she wants. Well, that was Ella Malin, rather. I really liked drawing her. Took me a bit to actually come up with a backstory and just, well, a story in general. And yeah, that's mostly it, I suppose. If anyone's interested in leaving video recommendations, I will listen. This video probably won't be up for a little while, but I'm up to ideas. I'm considering doing the Pokemon D&D creature fusion by Just Jack Daw. So if you'd like to see that or any other sort of art thing, I'm more than happy to attempt it. So this has been the Nightmare Man. Have a nice day.